Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chris's collection. Today we are playing the legendary. Oh God, this song. We are playing the legendary Grand Theft Auto 3. Which, oh God, what needs to be said about this game? This is like legendary, kind of like for its open world environments, and it's only gotten better. I mean, good God. But I'm here to tell my story about it. So I had mentioned in the Final Fantasy X video I did on how my friend Gaboria had this game, and that he would play it, and he would have fun with it and all this stuff, and I would just go to his house to play it because we lived so close. We were neighbors, and it was a very small town, and so I would just kind of like walk over to his house and be like, "Hey man, can I play Grand Theft Auto 3?" He's like, "Totally." And so we kind of had like this system sort of set up where we were like, "How about?"
I know a place on the edge of the
Oh
Red
God,
Light
excuse me.
District.
We kind of had like this system set up, sort of, where it was like, "Hey, you play." It's like I'll play this game, or I'll get this game, and then you get this game, kind of thing. But not really. I don't know. It was kind of a system we had set up, but at the same time, not really. But we started doing it, and okay. It was a system we started doing, and then we kind of like I had moved out before it could really take effect, but it was kind of like the beginning of it. So whatever, that's kind of like my first exposure to it. I had known about Grand Theft Auto before that. My friend Alex had GTA 1 with the London expansion, but I didn't really know too much about it. I wasn't like a ginormous fan of the series, and whatever. So years later, I get bit with the Grand Theft Auto bug. I was in college, and I was very lucky to have a lot of time in college, like free time, especially in between jobs. There's a couple of times where, I didn't have a job for a while, and thankfully my parents could support me while I was in college, and I didn't really have to worry about working and having to go to class. So really my life was like, okay, go to class and do this and do that. And so there's just a time period where I had like a lot of free time, and in between classes and projects. So I just got into the idea of, man, let me get into Grand Theft Auto and start playing it. So I didn't really have a lot of games. I think I had like the PSP games were out, and I had most of those. And so I wanted to do a chronological order playthrough. So I had played through, everything prior to this, because GTA 3 chronologically in the original series was the last one. So I had played, San Andreas, Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I had to get this one. And it was so funny because this was like the cheapest one, because it had been out for years, for like 5 or 6 years when I went to go get it. So it didn't cost anything. I think it cost me like $3 or something like that. It was extremely cheap, and so I just bought it, and I was like, oh cool. And I remember it was just a very dull day, like I don't remember if it was a Sunday or what it was. Like my dad was in the living room watching TV, and I was just like, all right, cool, I'm just bye. And I just took the car, and I was by myself. My girlfriend wasn't around. We weren't living together yet or anything, and I was still with my parents, and yeah, it was cool. I just went and got it, and I was like, cool, this is a really cool game, and I played through it, and I think I beat it. I can't remember, but yeah, it was just a part of my life where I was like, I really just want to play all the Grand Theft Auto games in chronological order, and I just thought it'd be fun, and so that's what I did, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun, and it was kind of weird playing it chronologically because obviously the graphically and just the way things are, like Rockstar, I remember this is one thing that stuck to me in Liberty City Stories, which is set in 1998. You could drive a motorcycle, but in this game you can, and this game chronologically is set in 2005. So it's like, hey, wait, or 2001, I think. Yeah, I think it was the year it was released. So everyone's like, hey, wait a minute, why can you not do it? And Rockstar, I think their excuse was, oh, it was outlawed. Motorcycles in the years in between, motorcycles were outlawed by by Liberty City officials, and so now you can't do it. And I'm like, you know what? Like, they didn't even have to explain that. They could have just said, you know why, like because we developed that game afterwards. But they actually took the time to come up with something that was really cool. It's not like they're gonna, this was before the days of DLC. You see, they're not gonna be like, oh, we're gonna add in DLC, or there's a patch that's coming up that's gonna fix that. Yeah, that's not the way things work. So that was pretty cool, that they did like a little story like that. But alright guys, we just did this first mission, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week, actually, with more. There's 2 more PS2 Grand Theft Autos, so we definitely got more GTA stories to talk about. But alright guys, well thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back next week with some more stories. Take care.